uitsending van ons. A very hearty welcome to all our guests and especially our international guests. And at least we had some better news, and I've got Lindsay with me today. I've tried my very best on the first 4 sales and she never picks up, and now with the first sale that is going up now, she's saying yes. But at least it's more positive news today, and I'm just a little bit bragging, and I want to read my summary on, I said it 3 weeks ago in this podcast, and in my summary I said the big sales of the season have come and gone. The next sale will be 40% smaller, and this will certainly have a positive effect on price and selling percentage. And that is what happened yesterday. But our market is never as simple as that, and that's why I'm glad I've got Lindsay here. The Chinese are still battling their COVID rules and regulations. I don't think COVID is as bad in China as that everyone believes, but it cripples the economy of China. And but then we're also dependent on the economy in Europe. And Lindsay, I know you have got good contact with everybody there. What is your opinion? What's happening in Europe?
So thanks, Pierre, for inviting me, and I'm glad that I could attend today. So Europe is a market that I speak to regularly on a daily basis. And I think what we're seeing in Europe is with the inflation that we all know is happening there, it's largely being absorbed by the end consumer. And the end consumer is dipping into savings to be able to absorb that inflation and therefore spending less. So we're feeling the pressure on the brands and retailers that are unable to sell the volumes that they're used to selling. The good news is that the brands and retailers are still very engaged in the mohair conversation. And I think that that is the better of the two, that they are still understanding the fibre and wanting to source the fibre and wanting to continue supporting the industry. I think that high luxury fashion is not that affected by inflation, which we know. However, as we know, high luxury fashion use less mohair at higher prices, and it's more that mass market that moves majority of our mohair, and that's where it's being felt at the moment. But I have high hopes that we can get through this, as we've got through many other challenges, and see a positive outcome at the end.
I would just tell the viewers that this is what I'm very pleased about, is that our marketing team is not just me. Our marketing team is really a team, and Lindsay is an integral part of that. And it's not necessary for me to go and ask a buyer what he thinks about the market, or listen to the buyer what he thinks about the market. Lindsay is the one that is talking to the people that is giving the buyer instructions. So it is all, when there was a downward pressure on the market this season, a lot of farmers asked me and said, "Young, is this not just a ploy of the buyers to get mohair cheaper? What about the exchange rate? It doesn't help us," and things like that, which is quite good questions to ask. But I am sure that, or I can ascertain you that we've got the right information, and we will fight the cause of the farmer. If we think that you are unfairly treated, we will say it. The job of a broker is not just receiving the mohair and display it and for the buyers and gather the money from the buyers. It's far more complex and involved. And Lindsay, I think that is the reason why, another reason why I invited you, is to give us a little bit of background. What are you doing? And because there's little news about this, I know a lot of the things are yet very sensitive, but what are you busy at the moment, and what are you doing?
For sure. So I'll start by just backing up a little bit and talking about the job of the broker. I think we've seen that this market and what the market expects of a broker has changed more in 3 years than in 6 decades. and they are coming to us with questions and expecting us to be able to answer. We actually hold the responsibility to support our farmers through this process. So the reason that I'm in this position and at BKB and House of Fibre is very much to support this change that's necessary. We are seeing this around the world. It's not the first broker that is moving in this direction. It is a worldwide change that we've seen. So, Pierre, as you say, a lot of what I'm working on is...
But we are the first broker in South Africa.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. A lot of what I'm working on is subject to NDAs, which in itself is exciting. It means that we're in conversations that are meaningful and impactful. And as these projects come to life, we can speak more about them. But what I am doing on a daily basis, and I actually have said to someone this morning, I feel a bit like a doctor's office, is that my hours in the day are booked up, and we're speaking to up to 7-8 brands every day, and understanding their needs and understanding how we can support them, but most importantly, how they can support us too. And I think we've got to a point that collaboration needs to be meaningful and impactful to our farmers, and impactful to brands and retailers. So what we've been working on is actually very exciting. It's been a year in the position, and just understanding the landscape of what the world wants and what is practical for a producer in South Africa, so that we don't come to a producer with unreasonable demands and expectations, but rather we take control of that narrative. So we're working on a product that's called, or a strategy that's called BKB House of Fibre Next. And the reason for Next is taking everything we're doing to the next level. So we know that we have the biggest responsible Mohair standard group in the world, but we are looking now at measuring impact beyond that certification. So what are our farmers doing that is over and above a audit? And in discovery sessions with producers around the country, there is so much to talk about that we don't talk about. And there's so much that our producers are doing that is not covered in an audit, that can be reported on and that the end market are really interested in. So we've got a couple of pillars and extra indicators we'll see come in, but there's nothing to be nervous of here, because this is a farmer identifying what he's doing in various aspects of his farming operation and what his own personal goals and objectives are. And in that, we plan to support them every step of the way. We don't plan to make any instruction and walk away. There's a process. We have a dedicated environmental manager, Vyver, that is helping on the regenerative, on the next level planet side. I'm working on the next level people and animals. And then also importantly is that we're taking our organizations to the next level. So this is not just an expectation of farmers to report on what they're doing. We're actually holding ourselves accountable as House of Fibre to report to what we're doing. What are we measuring in a sustainability space? Because believe it or not, the end market that's buying your Mohair is interested in who they're buying it from, and what is your ethos and what is your brand value. Where do you see your company going?
That means we're coming back to the fact that there must be personal contact. We're interested in the person that
100%. A week ago, we had our first engagement with a brand where we put a farmer on a call to meet a brand and tell his personal story, and that was a very exciting moment, because that's what we've been working towards, is actually closing that gap and sharing that story directly from source to a brand who ultimately places that order.
Will that be, you think, contracted Mohair will flow out of that? Or?
I think what we're looking at, Pierre, is actually providing a farmer with options. So an auction option will always be there, but if there's other options for them, we're going to certainly be bringing that to the table, that they have their own decisions to make, informed decisions to make. I think that going over, we're leaving this Friday for Colorado Springs to attend the Textile Exchange conference.
I want to ask you about that.
Yeah. It is the biggest conference of the year in our space. And if you just look at the attendance list of the brands and retailers attending that conference, I don't think there is a group of brands in the world that is not attended at that conference. Very excitingly, we have a very strong presence at that conference. In fact, South Africa has a very strong presence at that conference. But BKB House of Fibre in particular have got speaker slots on various days. The opening day, which is the Animal Fibres Roundtable, it's attended by over 300-400 brands and retailers. Our environmental manager, Vyver, has a very strong presence in that session, where she'll be doing a presentation on behalf of South African farmers. And then on the Thursday, I take part in a session that I'm super excited about. It's called Driving Transformation, How Brands Can Work with Farm Groups for Positive Impact. And I will be presenting along with a very big brand on a successful project that we will be announcing on that Thursday, which we will see in our news quite soon thereafter. So we're working hard, and I feel like the last year has been largely on positioning, is taking our brokerage and positioning it as a real serious player in this market, and as a conduit for brands and retailers to contact and let's discuss your pain points, and let's see how we can assist you in that space.
Now, I'm just as in a hurry as all the farmers, because a lot of farmers were very enthusiastic of what we are doing, and but when they said we don't hear of anything, but it's a long-term investment.
Yes.
It's not short-term results, but I'm very keen to see what the end results are going to be, because it will to be the advantage of a House of Fibre BKB client directly.
Absolutely.
And as you said, give him options. Options like we've just gone through a season where there were difficulties, and I must say, from a Mohair point of view, there was a lot of people, a lot of farmers, but didn't know of the existence of the Mohair Trust and the pool system and how they can use it.
Yes.
And they were afraid of it and said, no, but I don't want to get in, because it's actually not a pool system, because nothing is pooled. But it's tools that is in the hand of a farmer that he doesn't know of, that is very handy.
Yes.
But it also shows you how privileged we are, that there's a age group now that doesn't know what happens when your mower doesn't sell.
Absolutely.
We went through a period of 10 years that we didn't have a problem. So I hope that this is the last time that we have a problem.
Yes.
But coming to options, I think that is really what we are focusing on, and getting options and more longer term commitment from end users and processors, and naturally to the farmer.
Absolutely. So at the last Textile Exchange conference a year ago, throughout the conference there was a common thread and theme challenging brands to get closer to their Tier 4 suppliers. So we are considered a Tier 4 supplier. And it is a very challenging task for a brand. There's a long supply chain to understand to be able to do that. This is a success story that we've actually managed to do it in a very meaningful way, and that's what we will be sharing at that conference. And I think that it will set us up and position us into many more conversations of a similar nature that could actually influence and impact our farmers.
It was very interesting. On the first two sales of the season, there was a very limited difference between RMS mower and non-RMS mower, 2-3%, which is about 10 rand a kilo on average. But since the third sale, where there's now limited demand, that gap widened dramatically. It's actually the biggest at the moment than it ever was. It's now between 12 and 19%. That means 50 rand a kilo for a farmer that is in the RMS system. Yes. Or not. That just shows you what the importance are, and the foresight that the mower industry and BKB at that stage had to be involved in this.
Absolutely. And Pierre, the project we're working on now through Next is supported by Textile Exchange. They do understand that a standard has their limitations, and that we mustn't cap ourselves at just that standard. And our farmer stories of what they're doing, I'll give you an example, is under one of our indicators under animal health. We ask farmers under that indicator, what do you do that's over and above an RMS standard in that space? And I've not been to a farm where a farmer can't tell me something special that they're doing, whether that is bringing camps closer to the house when animals are needing medical attention, calling it an animal hospital. That kind of information is not recorded and shared. And whilst that kind of information, when we share it with the brand and retailer, they get so excited. They think that that's wonderful because it speaks to that symbiotic relationship between farmer and his animals. So that is our plan, is to add value to our existing RMS system by adding these extra indicators where farmers get to actually celebrate the extra work that they do and don't feel under pressure to have to meet a goal that their neighbors set for themselves. It really is from where you are all you do is track continuous improvement from that point on. So it's controlled by the farmer, it's not controlled by an international body.
You mentioned to me that you don't have much contact with the East, especially in China, which is an important market to
Yes.
us. Is that mainly because China is now closed with COVID and no information is
Yes.
going out, or is it because of all the fashion houses based in Europe?
I think it's a bit of both. So in my time at BKB, China hasn't been fully operational at all for a single month since I've started. And also the sustainability conversations right now are happening in Europe. Those decisions are happening around a table. I had a call quite late last night with a luxury fashion brand, and it reminded me again that those conversations are not what they used to be. That fashion brand gave me 3 pain points, all of them very high level sustainability pain points. Also shared their goals on what they've publicly announced they will achieve in terms of sourcing and sustainability. And we really are in a position as a farm group to address all 3 of their pain points, which is really a good thing. I do think that in China, whilst those sustainability conversations are not happening at the same level, I think that could change quite quickly. I think we've seen in the past that when China takes a decision, they mobilize at speed. They have resource, so we can see that change. We believe largely in the few conversations we've had that is going to be the case. Where China are, we mustn't underestimate their sustainability goals and how quickly they can make a decision and turn in a direction.
If listeners will remember, I've mentioned that specifically on the previous podcast 3 weeks ago, is that things can change quickly in China.
Absolutely.
And that's what we are waiting for. To give a little bit of background, yesterday we still doesn't sell everything, and it's mostly the adults that is lacking. And most of Africa's report also shows you that 18% less exports to China. That is our problem. If China, that pipeline is empty. If China opens up today and starts ordering, it will take the whole stockpile.
Absolutely.
And then our problems is at the end. So that's why I mentioned over and over that the advantage of being older, I've had in a far more difficult situation than now. I think as one of the buyers mentioned, the solution to the problem is 2 emails away.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and so please keep your guts, put the same effort in. We're still 30% better than 2 years ago. Everybody is make a comparison with last year this time. Yes, we can't compare with last year this time. But 2 years ago we were in a far worse situation, and we didn't know it at that stage. So there's a lot of positive. Thank you for joining me, Lindsay, and to hear it from the horse's mouth. And as I mentioned earlier, that is a nice thing to be part of a marketing team and not trying your own thing. I must say, I did sell a few mobiles last night. So our selling percentage is over 90% now. And hopefully I will do more sales in the next coming week. But there's not a full solution to the problem yet. You can see the buyers are concentrating on the cheaper adults. So that means they are speculating. That means they building stockpile when China is coming in. And so that is not. It's not meaning that all our solutions, all our problems have solutions now. But hopefully this will continue. I also mentioned in my summary last night that I don't think there's any reason, especially the next sale is our top sale, our top clients is on that sale. I don't see any reason why we can't continue on this base and finish the end of the season in a positive way. Hopefully I'll try my best to move all stock before the end of the year. but that's not a guarantee. Although I've done some business last night, and hopefully I will do business today as well, or during this week. That there's definitely improvement in the market, and but we don't. The problem is there's not a full solution to the problem yet. That just shows you the buyers are concentrating on the cheaper adults, and so it's very price sensitive, and that means they are building stock. So we must think twice before we sell our better adults yet at the moment at any price, because they are building stock to prepare for if the demand returns. Because we all know that the demand is not far away, that the demand will return, and hopefully that will be early next year. To move to our slides, you'll see on the first slide there, out of the 507 lots offered, we sold 460. That is a selling percentage of 90.8%, and hopefully we will move a few bales today as well. That's substantially better than the average for all the brokers included, so hopefully that will carry on like that. And what the farmer doesn't always realize is that the percentage of RMS Mohair at House of Fibre at BKB is averaging between 80 and 90%. So that's why I'm not even looking at non-RMS stats anymore, because it's very inaccurate and irregular, because it's such a small quantity. The base that we are selling is RMS Mohair, and I'm very glad to report that, and thank you to our loyal supporters yet for that effort. In the next slide you will see that the kids went up with 2.5%, and as Lindsay mentioned, the top half of the kids, that market is the real fancy stuff. It's not really affected at the moment. There's demand for it, and you could see it yesterday. But that is unfortunately the finer, high quality stuff. 24, 25 micron are selling like hotcakes. The moment we go to 26, 27 micron, then the enthusiasm slows down a little bit. Young goats went up to 4.6%, and a big part there is Ivan Smith from Zoetermeer coming into the market. They said that they are doing a little bit of business in Europe now, but also a high-end business, and the Vyver industry, there's still a good demand for Mohair there. Adults came down with 5%, we quoted down 5%, and I think 5% seems like a lot, because we didn't sell really adults at a lower price. But you must remember on the previous sale, there was a very limited amount of adult selling. Now yesterday, the cheaper lots were selling very well. So that gives you the information through the computer that says you the price coming down. But that is just because we start selling Mohair, yet adult Mohair. If we move to the next slide, and I think this is interesting, people forget quickly, the market went up with 2% compared with the previous sale, and but the price difference between this sale a year ago, the average indicator was 381 Rand, and at the moment we stand at 351. That means a nearly 8% difference that we are worse off. But compare that to the year before that, then we are 30% better. If we move to the most important slide of the sale, where you can see the micron comparison to the previous sale. As I mentioned, I'm not even looking at non-RMS stuff. It's very erratic. If you remember the previous sale, it was down with 20% and 30%, and now we're suddenly up with 20 and 30%. Sometimes it means one bale. Yet so you can't really go on that. But on the RMS side, you'll you'll see 24 micron was unchanged, which was a bit of a surprise to me. But if you remember on the previous sale, the 24 micron went up with 5-6%. 25 micron went up with 5.9%. That shows you the quality. The other kits were more or less unchanged. Then when you come to the young goats, the 29 and 50 and 51 micron, that went up yesterday, especially that young goats with good length. There was good competition, and that stuff went up with yet up to 6%, 6.8% for a 29 micron. But then you'll see from 53 micron and stronger, the market came down. 53 micron with 3.9%, 54 micron with 3%, and 35 6 micron with only 1%. And that is where the bulk of our adults was, and we sold quite a few lots here. If we move to the next slide, you'll see the exchange rate. The rand actually strengthened yesterday and the market went up with 2%, but that just shows you what I've said on every sale. I think the exchange rate plays a very limited role on the sales this season because the lack of demand. If there's no demand, the market is coming down. Never mind what the exchange is doing. If there's demand, the Mo is going up. Never mind what the exchange is doing. So yesterday was proof of that. The exchange, the rand strengthened with 1%, and the stuff that was in demand went up in price with far more than 1%. So the next slide is also just confirming that. Then the graph will show you that in dollar terms, the average price for Mohair is still $27, which a kilo, which is an excellent price. Then to the top producers. And for the second time in a row, the real top price wasn't in the fine kits, it was in the 25-26 micron group. But on the finer kits, the fine kits where Uncle Louis Ferreira from Catalogue was the top price. I'm so glad for Uncle Louis. He is retiring now and leaving the farming in his son-in-law's hand for the Jager. But the top price there for EGT tested RMS bale 694 rand, and the competition was so strong. I was really disappointed that it didn't go all the way to 700, but a good price in any case. Chris Lowe of Bedford was and his son-in-law at the second highest best price at 685 rand, and that 685 rand, my initial valuation was 10% less, and I suggest let's put your valuation up with 10%. If we get that, then we can sell. And a few bales, kit bales of him did sell because he's got excellent demand. He's one of the farmers that know how to use the pool system. If there's not proper demand for a type, he keeps it back, put it in the pool, get the money, and when the demand is back, he resell that Mohair. Then Scott Nell in the third position there. You remember he had the third highest price in the summer season of all farmers with his best bale of summer kits. That same kits now produced a very good bale of winter kits of 25.2 micron. His summer kits was 22 micron, and he was selling at 680 rand a kilo. But then all the accolades must go to Robert and Michael Bosch of Rietfontein Boerdery in Somerset East. The farmers that doesn't know Robert and Michael, that's the sons of his dictum George Bosch, and where the official ram sales is presented in Somerset East on their farm. But they are stud breeders as well, and you could see yesterday their top bale was was 25.6 microns. It was just missing out on the 25 micron, the FFK bracket. Super style, the length could have been better, but 88, really 90% clean held. Excellent bale, one of the best bales of the season, and the price shows it, 750 Rand a kilo. Very proud of it. The Charles Mohair family from Willem Moore at 640, and then the Redfontaine family again at 610 for the next barrel. We moved to the 28-29 micron group, where Uncle Louis Ferreira is in the first place again at 570, and funny thing they mentioned yesterday, he mentioned because he attended the sale, he said it's the first time, but they are really at the top price in every bracket. Their average is usually one of the best. In the summer their average was the best, but they never had that individual bales, and yesterday they did have individual bales, and I discovered because by use of RFID tags, by EGT, they get all the information of all the animals, and they make use of a field officer to apply in preparing the clip. Then Tierpitz Farms of Aberdeen, Paul Brooksma, who also attended yesterday's sale. Excellent clip, but stronger than I'm used to Paul, but that shows you the conditions is improving, but excellent high quality clip. Then the second place, and then Christopher Lee in the third place at 558. Then at the 2950 micron, Paul Brooksma there in the top position again at 470. Our bidding section there at the second price. Congratulations Andrew and his team of Rousseau de Rand and Roche Manray Fox. And then die aardboerdery. Ek moet julle verskoning vra wat daar staan Mohair, ek het dit reggemaak in die hoofverslag. Ek weet julle is baie erg dat dit moet Redfern wees, dit bly nie Redfern distrik en nie in Mohair nie. Ek sal sorg dat daai foutjie nie weer deursluit nie. Dan in die 32-33 micron groep, where George Stefan, he was also present yesterday, and people, I can really encourage you to come and attend the sales. The buyers appreciate it, we appreciate it, we can show you, you will get a better understanding with what is happening on the sale, and it's definitely to your advantage. It's not just by chance that the people that receive the top prices were attending. Yes, they did have a good best quality, but that shows you that the above average farmer that put that extra effort in and are very proud of their clip and attend the sale, and the buyers appreciate that effort as well. The House of Fibre there again in the second position, and Piet Koeman from Oudtshoorn. I know Piet was very worried about the sale, and he had also a selling percentage of over 90%. Piet with his two clips is our biggest producer of Mohair at Verboen. Well, I nearly said how much, but Piet was very worried that Mohair is not going to sell, and this Mohair sold very well. Then in the 34 micron, 53-54 micron bracket, Redfontaine family, the two Bosch brothers. Dat was weer daar bo met 33 micron, 310 rand per kilogram. Waar 33 micron hier so eintlik by 280 rand rond lê. Dat is oor 30 rand per kilogram bo kan die gemiddeld, net omdat hulle beter na hulle diere kyk. Paul Brooksma were in the second position, and the Humphreys of Adelaide were in the third position. Dan die 35 serum 36 groepering, ons kon daai. Daar was nog wel heel wat van daai bane. Paul Brooksma weer daar, ons biddings was daar, Christopher Lee was daar. En dan die 37 micron groep het eintlik afgekom met 5%, maar daar was 37 nie door. Ek dink daar was 2 of 3 male Maar dit was die goedkoper bokke vir R225. En baie goeie aanvraag, maar nie prysgewys so goed nie. So dit is my opsomming van wat gister gebeur het. I'll try to sell a little bit more Mohair now later in the morning, but then we're on our way to Willem show. Hopefully we will see there as well. I will do a presentation there on the market as well, but that will be more or less the same as what I've said now, except that we don't have Lindsay with us. She was preparing to be on her way to the UK, after to UK, USA. En dan sien ons julle oor 2 weke. Alle seën en voorspoed.